Welcome to Syntax. We got a potluck episode for you today, which is you bring the questions, we bring the answers. We got some really good questions today on should I use Markdown instead of a CMS? No, never. Please. Scott and I have several thousand Markdown files as a CMS, and it sucks. Leaving the country for a job. Should I pack up my whole family and leave the country for less money? How should I master keyboard shortcuts, Scott? And I have some really good tips on mastering your keyboard shortcuts. Should a young person get into web dev because of AI? This is the question we get from every person of every age, but we're going to attempt to answer that. And then finally, backup strategies. Well, how do I, after the Halloween episodes, everyone's freaking out about how poor their backup strategies is. So me and Scott talk about that. Let's get into it. You ready for some potluck questions there, Scott?
Oh,
hold on. I like your Figma hat. That's cool. Where'd you get that?
GitHub Universe was one of those swag ones. I've done this 2 years in a row now where I pulled the "Do you know who I am" card to them, where I walk up and they say, "Oh, would you like to learn about Figma?" And I was like, I'm going to be honest, I'm just here for the hat, but I did do your very first tutorial videos for Figma's website back in 2015. And they'll be like, "Oh, okay, here's a hat." They're like,
I've been around way longer than you have.
Yes, I was offered like employee number 8 at Figma or something.
Oh man!
And I turned it down, and that's why I'm still working.
Yeah.
Here.
Well,
yes.
I don't think those folks got their payout either because of the Adobe thing got nixed as well, which I'm sure there was some pissed employees when that didn't fall through.
Oh, dude, can you imagine?
The Ferrari on order.
Can you imagine? There was a scene in the WeWork, the WeWork show that they did.
That was super good.
Yeah, that was super good. And they had like employees like adding stuff and clicking buy before it went public. And just like, man, to know that there's that much money on the line and like there's a future where you could have that type of money and yet it gets pulled away from you. Oh, crush me, honestly. Yes.
Oh, brutal. All right, let's get into the first question here. You want to grab that one, Scott?
Yes, from Josh Doveham. I've been obsessed with learning keyboard shortcuts recently. Everything from Mac OS shortcuts to Chrome VS Code. My goal is to start weaning off the mouse over time and see what I can unlock with the extra productivity and a deeper sense of flow. What are your guys' thoughts on keyboard shortcuts? Do they really make you more productive, or are they just micro time savers that don't really help developers all that much? Love from Vancouver. So me personally, yes, I love keyboard shortcuts, and I do use them quite a bit. The ones I use most, honestly, are like window management stuff, and I have everything to like hyper F to do full screen, but not like the actual full screen, just to have it take up, like maximize, just like stuff like that. And I have like hyper L wraps the current line in a console log. But I've tuned my personal ones in a way that, like, especially in my text editor, that I feel very comfortable getting around on the keyboard, and then in my system as well. But I think so much value can come out of learning the shortcuts that exist in anything. Like when I teach my kid how to use the computer, I don't tell him to go click on the X. I tell him to do Command W or whatever. I tell him to do Command Q or Command V, those things, because if that's just how you know how to do it, it becomes so much faster overall. But like one place that I've always felt has been like really good for me in video or in shortcuts is like video editing stuff, where I have my own custom set of shortcuts for everything, and I basically am playing my keyboard like a piano when I'm video editing.
Yeah.
Because it's just like once you get that dialed, like people buy macro pads, they'll buy giant knobs, all kinds of stuff, and like you can do so much with just the key. The keyboard's got buttons on it. I forgot how many buttons, but it's got a lot of buttons. So you get a hyper key on there, you got a whole nother set of buttons. It's pretty cool.
Hyperkey is so key. That is, you are mapping your Control, Shift, Option, and Command to the caps lock key, and that essentially opens up a whole new world of combinations. I think a lot of people get frustrated with keyboard shortcuts because A, they can never remember them, like what was it and what's the little hat symbol,
Yeah.
But if you just know that it's caps lock plus something else, you can go nuts. And like I have the like extended Mac keyboard.
Ooh, yeah.
And what that allows, it gives you the whole set of the whole numpad, and then it also gives you F16 to F19, and
Jeez.
it gives you all of these oh, my keyboard is disgusting.
Yeah,
It
your
gives you,
whole yeah. I'm
page
like
up.
gonna throw up.
Yeah, I need to clean that. It gives you like home page, end, page down, page up. So like all of those keys are like almost unused in most applications, and hooking those up to Hyper plus any of those has been such a game changer for me. The only downside is like you can't use it when you're on your laptop, but I don't use laptop straight away all that much.
I pretty much only like my main keyboard is the laptop keyboard. I never have an
crazy.
external. I love just laptop keyboard.
And then I also use Better Touch Tool as well. One interesting thing, I did a video, and we actually have to edit this yet and get it up on the channel. I did a video with John Lindquist, and just
Where is
talking
that video?
about John Lindquist is like the most like dialed in productivity guy ever. He has this whole like app called Script Kit and whatnot, but he was showing me how he uses his mouse quite a bit, because I've always been like, yeah, get away from the mouse, don't touch the mouse. But he also uses like holding a combination and clicking.
Yeah.
So now if you hold any key and then click, or right click or middle click or click and drag down, then you can do any number of things, and we'll get the video edited and throw it up on the YouTube channel, because it was like kind of eye-opening that adding mouse gestures along with a keyboard holding down a key is just like a whole nother world of adding things in there. And I've done that a little bit with my like spaces on the MX Master mouse.
Yeah.
When I press it down, I can press a button and go down, or press a button and go up, and it will what will it do?
There's so much cool stuff.
Changed
This mouse
it the other
has
day.
gestures and all kinds of
Expose.
stuff. Yeah, expose, same. Yeah,
You click
I have
it, or
expose
you-
with this one.
Push it down and mouse right, and it will move it
Yeah.
to the next space. There's a lot you can do with it, and it's a rabbit hole. Like you could spend your entire day trying to become productive, but I also certainly think it's well worth your time in learning keyboard shortcuts, especially the built-in ones. Like my one tip is, if an app doesn't have like a command palette like a VS Code has, the help in OS X, if you click on help, there's a little search bar in there, and instead of hunting around the menus for everything, you can just type in there. There's also a Raycast extension, but this one will show you where they are in the menus, and it will show you the shortcut for them. And that's a quick way to find what you want and then memorize the shortcut.
You know what I have on my MX Master? I have like undo and redo tied to this middle scroll bar, this horizontal scroll bar.
Oh,
a
yeah.
scroller. So I can just swipe back to undo, swipe forward to redo.
I fidget with it so much that
Yeah,
I
I'm
can't
not a
do that.
fidgeter.
I use it for horizontal scrolling, because I use TweetDeck on horizontal scrolling quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I just fidget with it all day long, so I can't. I had it in Photoshop up to undo and redo, and I kept accidentally undoing stuff.
Yeah. I love that.
All right, next question from Anon says, in episode 956, an alternative to GitLens was called AirLens and was mentioned, but I can't find anything about it. Can you share more on this? So that was not AirLens, that was Error Lens. And this is a VS Code extension that I absolutely love. So on the video, I've got it up right now. This is what it does, is when you have like any error, so most likely like a TypeScript error, a linting error, Markdown error, anything that is happening in your code, it will usually add like a little squiggle underneath your thing. So what I do is I use Error Lens to inline those right beside the actual code. So you can see here I've got some cannot redeclare block scope variables, cannot find name cool, and I've installed that. But then I went into my settings and I added a couple changes. First of all, I made the font size much smaller so that it's not so obnoxious. So it's like it's pretty small when you're looking at it right now. I guess I'm zoomed in a bit right now, but I found that to be a good size. And then I also have it set up for error, warning, and hint, as well as I have customized the colors for each of those. So the background and the foreground, so it's not as obnoxious as well. I found it was, by default, it was way too jarring. Like the whole line would turn red or the whole line would turn yellow. And it was just like way too obnoxious. So I really toned it down there. And then I finally I said errorlens.exclude, and then just common things that I don't care about because I know that they will be fixed either by me because there's already a squiggle, or they'll be fixed when I hit save. My ESLint or my pretty or whatever will kick in and fix those. So like I ignore anything that's like this variable is never used or never read, because I already have a squiggle, and that happens all the time. I create a variable and then it's like, hey, you never use that variable. It's like, I'm getting to it. It's the next line, or unknown word. This is just like spell check. I ignore all spell check inline, and then the new line, ESLint error, that pops up all the time when you have like white space. I don't care about that. It's gonna, as soon as I hit save, it's gonna fix itself. So, and you can see actually this setting here is deprecated in favor of errorlens.exclude by message. So the error lens itself is showing me an error I have with my error lens config, and that's really helpful. For the really long ones, it gets kind of obnoxious, but you just hover over top of it and go ahead and read it.
Yeah, I do like that. Yeah, thank you for sharing. I do use error lens myself. It's dope. Cool. Next question from Josh. Scott teased us with a really cool Svelte 5 service worker when discussing his syntax site rewrite. Could he please do a tutorial on this specifically? We'd love to see the superpowers on our sites. It looked pretty cool. The community could benefit from such information. So the service worker thing that I did was basically intercepting queries, essentially the remote functions. It would intercept them and do a stale wall revalidate using indexed DB. And it's actually really nice. What it does is then it like initially will just load from your index DB, basically giving you that lightning fast initial data load from your local data. The only problem is what I haven't done with this service worker yet is I haven't put in any code to do like invalidation on mutation, which when you're updating data and then you browse to the data and it's the stale data. So it is raw. I'll post a link in this video to the gist. If anybody would like to work on this or elaborate on this or modify this, go right ahead. I think it's a pretty cool, neat little thing, but nothing that I've had time to like really solidify yet. Just, man, I got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. I have a question about this though. Like, so this is basically every time you have a request to like an API to grab like the latest podcasts or something like that, it will intercept it, check if you've already done that query and if the data is stored locally. And if so, it will just return that from the cache instead of actually hitting the server. That's what it does, right?
That's correct.
How is this different than just putting like a cache header on the request that's returned from the server so that the client itself will just, I already made that request, so I could just reuse the response there?
Yes, because I don't believe you can do cache headers on the remote functions yet.
Oh, from SvelteKit.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I don't believe so. I think you can have cache headers on page routes and stuff to cache the pages, but yeah, individual functions remote, and that might be different by now. So Svelte folks, comment below if that is incorrect. But yeah, that's why this is doing that. Plus,
like you just said, if you want to have custom logic about invalidating queries, right. Like a header's not really going to help you there, because if you set like an hour on something and you can't clear your cache, you don't have DevTools open, then it's gonna be cached for an hour in the browser. Whereas with this, you can at least put some logic inside of there to explicitly invalidate it, or like when something is mutated, you can just go into the cache and blow it out manually.
Yep.
Blaze says, just listen to the remix episode and got me thinking, with the rapid rise of AI-assisted coding, does the choice of framework still really matter? If generative AI can already produce 80 to 90% of reliable code and developers can use their experience to fix the remaining 10 to 20%, how should we think about selecting a tech stack for a new web or mobile app? Should we stick with what we know now, like the tried and true React ecosystem, explore frameworks that align more closely with web standards and performance optimization like Remix or Svelte? Or should we focus shift entirely to using well-supported, well-documented tools that generative AI can most effectively interact and produce production quality code? Yeah, this is actually something that I was talking to some folks at Google that work at Chrome just a couple days ago, because I was like, man, we got like customizable select, we've got CSS anchor, we've got scroll snap, we've got scroll driven animations, and I know it's early, but like a lot of people are not using those things. There's just npm install blah 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 whatever, and it works right off the bat. And I was kind of thinking like why aren't people using these things? Is it because it's easier just to boop 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 npm framework that it already knows? So the question here was, does choice of framework really matter? I think it matters a lot that the AI understands how to produce your framework, but I don't think that that's going to stop the progression of this stuff, because we're gonna hit a point where, like, we're already seeing it with a lot of the React ecosystem, where it knows to install Tailwind 3 and a whole bunch of UI frameworks, and it just adds a whole bunch of stuff. And there's better stuff out there. There's new tech out there, and I think you're going to start to see, especially like, let's talk about performance and accessibility and all those things, where your website is going to start to get slow and laggy, and you're going to have perf problems if you're just installing all of this crap when there are significantly better options out there. Choice of framework, it does matter, but I don't think that that's going to stop the fact that everything is just on the React ecosystem right now. I think that we will continue to see web standards frameworks that use browser primitives a lot more and use like web fetch, web request, web response a lot more, so that you can pick up these new things.
Yeah, I think it really matters. Ultimately, at the end of the day, some people would just say, as long as the code works, whatever. But man, some of the code is so non-performant. It's so dog. It's duplicating stuff left and right.
It's hard to maintain up the wazoo.
It's hard to maintain. You edit one thing and your CSS doesn't cascade because everything is set with individual micro styles on every single individual element. So now you're editing a ton of billion things everywhere. It is tough. What I'm hopeful for is that as AI matures, the systems in which the code is generated will start to be able to utilize more modern techniques, more performant techniques, rather than just what was the most code on GitHub that day, which was questionable, right? It is so funny because every time I do wonder about why the CSS that AI writes, even the Tailwind that AI writes is bad, but the CSS that it writes is bad. And I always wonder, like, is it really just that there's so many people that are bad at CSS? And then I go onto any open source project that is like for my server, like not like Plex, but I have like the My Audio Bookshelf or Audio Bookshelf. I have Copy Party. I have all these apps that I run personally. And then you go into the CSS of those big open source projects, and they're setting background color on everything. They have font size on every single thing. And you're just like, oh, there's no system here. And no wonder the AI can't write it, just because so much of that CSS is bad. It makes me upset.
Yeah, you see that a lot with, especially projects where like a back-end Python dev has built it, and you need a UI, and you reach for some, and they've also been around for 10 years, Yeah.
HTML is bad. CSS is bad.
Yes. So I think, I hope and pray that everything will get better, especially as like even these UI frameworks start to pick up a lot of the new built-in primitives. Like these UI frameworks are not going to go away, but they will start to use popover and anchor, and that's going to reduce a lot of the code that is necessary. It's going to be way more declarative. We'll use the new invokers API. That's probably going to be a big one as well. And I think that stuff is significantly simpler, and AI likes nice, clean, declarative, simple UIs.
Yes. Sick. All right, next question from Pointy. For a greenfield SaaS today, would you pick a batteries included framework like Laravel or Rails, or go lean with a minimal stack? What specific criteria make that choice future proof? Yeah, I think most people would probably want to pick something that is mature, widely supported, popular, stuff that people like and use. So many times when you're building these stacks out, you're like, who do I know that's a good developer who is going to work on this, and what do they know, and what are they skilled at? And let's build that stack around what we're most comfortable in. I mean, something like Rails is certainly like worked for a lot of people. React in general, on any kind of node ecosystem, you're going to have a wide variety of developers who can work in those systems, database technology and stuff like that. It really depends what the SaaS today is. So just to say, for a greenfield SaaS, you can't really give a generic answer to that, because if you were building Sentry, right? Sentry has very different data needs than let's say an like email app or FreshBooks or a financial tracking app. All of these have very different needs in what type of data they're storing and how they're storing it and where they're accessing it. If you're asking me personally, I'm using SvelteKit and Drizzle and BetterAuth because that's the stack that I like, and it's but like that's not a tried and true stack of, it's not like the most mature stack out there, but I like it, so that's why I would pick it. I'm effective with it. So it really depends. It depends on what you're building.
Yeah, I'm picking something that is all in, like a meta framework. I'm picking nothing too crazy, too new. I don't want to spend my days chasing updates and changing things around, but it's certainly 100% TypeScript stack so that all the types flow through. You're not fussing with what's server rendered, what's client rendered. You're not jumping through that hoop at any point. We'll keep going with the next question because it's somewhat of a similar question. Kurt Motus says, hello, Wes and Scott. He included a really nice message that I'm not going to read, but thank you, Kurt. I'm a PHP Laravel-based dev for the last 7 months, and I've been diving deep into Next.js rewrite of our main site, which is multi-tenant, multi-language, sort of headless, coming from a jQuery background previously with no prior React experience. Now I'm so fascinated with SvelteKit and thinking about finally getting my band's website off of localhost.
Yes.
Yeah, localhost is the new garage, you just got to get it out of localhost. I've built a prototype with a headless Next.js site using WordPress roots as a CMS. It works okay. I can create pages, update content, and pull into Next via the WordPress API, but I'm second guessing myself. I feel stuck in the classic dev dilemma. Is Next.js overkill for a band website? Would something like Payload or another headless CMS be smarter? Or is a repo as a CMS, which is Markdown, MDX files, and Git, actually the simplest and best fit? And how much would you lean on platforms like Vercel for something like this? So the question is, if you were building a band website today with some media, show dates, tour, adventure updates, what would you pick as your stack, and how would you balance a fun playground for me as a dev versus simple and sustainable to maintain? Yes. So as somebody who has 2 very large Markdown-based websites, my own personal blog, which has something like, 1,200 Markdown files, and the Syntax website, which has probably close to 1,000 Markdown files.
Yeah.
Markdown as
content,
a CMS sucks.
Sucks.
Don't do it.
Sucks.
We only do it. I only do it for myself because I want people to be able to edit, and I want to be able to write in Markdown, and I want to be able to edit it, and I want other people to send pull requests, and for the same reason we do that on Syntax. But as for somebody who's trying to create content and put it out there and have a nice UI, it sucks because it's like you got to rebuild the website and you have all of these like weird plugins that you need to install, and like it's awful. So first of all, don't do that.
You got to manage it through Git. Yeah.
Yeah. No fun. Honestly, the best move is like some sort of framework that pulls from an existing CMS that is very good. And if you want to update your website, you simply log into the CMS, you type what you want, you publish what you want, and then it shows up on your website when you've hit publish. And quite honestly, picking WordPress for that is probably the move. Payload is probably a really good solution as well. Keystone is in that area as well. Strappy also in that. Ghost CMS seems to be still cranking pretty hard.
Yeah, Ghost is pretty dope.
Yeah, I don't know that I would probably move it off of WordPress, because you just need a nice UI to edit your content and to be able to consume that via a JSON API. And I think you have that. I don't know that you have any problems that would be solved by moving to another CMS. And then in terms of like the actual framework, is Next.js overkill for a band site? I don't think so. No, if you need server rendering, you need all of that stuff. If I were to build a band website, I would certainly go and reach for a meta framework.
Yeah.
Like 10sec Start, Next.js, Remix, SvelteKit, Nuxt, something like that.
If I reach for a demo, I'm picking up SvelteKit. The meta frameworks, I'm a Next not fan, so I'm not going to say Next, but like me personally, they feel so lightweight nowadays to just, what the SvelteKit version is SV, create the thing, you got the thing, you have all your stuff there, and then if you want to add, I don't know, you get SSR out of the box, you get routing.
You don't have to configure a router.
Oh, I hardly build anything without it. Yeah.
Yeah, I certainly think you should do that. You get it all. You get all the server functions ready. Like if you decide, I do actually want to do something that's outside of WordPress. Yeah, you just pop a server function in there, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
So
yep.
Yeah, I think you're in a good spot. The last advice I'll give you is err on the side of be easy to update your content.
Mm-hmm.
Because when it is hard to put content out there, you will not actually do it. And like I have this with my blog post. Sometimes I want to just post something very quickly, and then I just post it to Twitter because it's like, I don't feel like making a folder and getting an image for it and
new file,
writing it down,
writing the front matter.
Yeah, exactly. And I have a couple scripts that make that a lot easier, but it still is a bit of a hurdle. And I often think maybe I should use a CMS, or maybe I need like Tina. Tina CMS is a headless CMS that gives you like a visual editor, but you can back it with Markdown or something else.
And Tina
like that.
still exists. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're. Where did I see them last? I met them at a conference for a while ago. They got a bunch of clients that absolutely love it. They got Tina Cloud now. Oh, they've done it when they've got the cloud product.
They got the cloud product, yes. All right. Next question from Matt. Should I move to another country for less money but potentially opportunity? I've been contracting for a company for about 7 years, building custom software for their business. I built this solely at first, but over the years, the company has expanded. Into the last couple of years, another developer has joined us. We essentially have a full-time job with monthly salary for this company. This has all been remote work so far, and we reside in a different country than the company operates. Now, an opportunity has become available where the company wants to improve the feedback loop in the dev process and potentially give one of us a chance to be closer and more involved with the business. This will include some time working from the office and meeting staff who directly use the software we're building. The company has offered a pay raise to cover the cost of the initial move, which is great, but there is quite a difference in the living cost between countries where the business is located and where I'm currently living, and I have worked out that over bills, rent, and tax, etc., I would be left with less than what I take home from contracting right now while living in a more expensive country, which makes me hesitant. I know there are positives and negatives to both places. I have a family which would likely benefit from the move in the long run too, but personally, I'm struggling to weigh the options.
Ooh.
That's a heavy question. This is tough for me because moving to another country is not moving to another state. There's a lot there. And it depends. Like there's the distance. Like, is this opportunity something that they could just, give you the job for 6 months and then let you go? Like, are there any assurances that they're going to keep you on here? And if you're packing up your entire family to move to another country, what kind of assurance do you have that that job will still be there in a year? Because if they drop you, then what do you got to move back? I mean, you could do that, but man, that's a hard thing to do, especially if you're moving a family. That means you got kids are in school, moving the kids to a new community, new friends. It depends. And all on that for less money. If it were me, I would probably not move. But without knowing more details, I don't think I can give another answer to this. I actually, funny enough, Figma, when they offered me the job, I had to move to San Francisco, and I did not have a family at that point, but I did have 2 dogs. And my wife and I were looking at the salary that was offered versus if we were to move someplace like Denver. And it was like looking at just the cost of living plus the salary they were giving, it was going to be a pretty substantial life downgrade for us. And we weren't rolling in cash. I mean, I was making like $48,000 a year at an agency at this point. So like it was going to be a tough move. And that was just to another state. So I turned it down. And this to me, like without those assurances, without that money, like if you could get some assurances or get more money or something, I don't know. What do you think, Wes?
Yeah, I think you let them know about your apprehensions. I've been in similar situations like this as well. You just say like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Like, let them know. There are some upsides, like if you're doing this for less money, but you said there's a potential upside for your family, that's exciting. I know plenty of people that have made big jumps like this, and it's just been well worth it for them. I know plenty of people who did the whole, I don't know, I'm going to go try live in San Francisco for a year and a half, and then it pans out. They get a job somewhere else. They're able to laterally move because it's a much better job market. Like there's a huge upside to that as well. Maybe you meet some really good friends. Obviously you're married, so you're not going to meet another partner. Benefits to your family, that's huge. Like what good is, I know it's less money, but if you're saying that it's going to be better for your family in the long run, like is that going to be worth it? But I would simply just straight up ask for more money and see what they say. There's not a huge downside to that. They could say no, and you're back where you started. You have the decision to do it for the same amount of money or stay where you are. But then like there's the other flip side of me is just like, yeah, I don't really want to move for that. Like I love being able to just live where I want to live and do what I want to do.
You can't be tamed, Wes.
Yeah, I'm a stallion. That's what I always tell everyone. I'm a stallion. I can't be tamed. So part of me is like, it depends where it was, Like I would probably move. We always watch that show House Hunters, and these people are like, oh, they're moving to Switzerland.
Yes.
For the family. Like family from south of Texas is moving to Switzerland. Like it's just the most crazy change. And they're like looking at like a little European like 2-bedroom, and they're like, we're used to our like 7,000 square foot Texas
big mansion. Yeah. Right, yeah.
But that could be exciting. Like that is really exciting for your kids to visit different countries and potentially make relationships there. So I would say go for it. You can always come back. It's obviously a lot.
You're right,
it's pretty
Wes.
disruptive.
Yeah,
but
it's
what the
disruptive.
hell? You know, you don't want to be on your deathbed being like, I'm glad I played it safe my whole life.
Yeah, you know what? That's not bad advice. And I have a buddy who moved to Japan with a kid, and then same buddy, moved to Amsterdam, same kid. So
Same kid?
same kid.
Wow, he kept it.
So he's
smokes.
yeah. So that's 2 country moves with a child, and yeah,
That's
he's working
doable.
out for him. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about Sentry at sentry.io/syntax. You know, you've got a website and you're probably writing some awful AI generated garbage code. And you need to know what the hell is going on with my application, right? You got errors, you got performance problems, you got performance problems on the client, like largest contentful paint. You got database queries that don't have indexes that are taking super slow. That didn't happen to us before. You'd be able to figure out what the hell are people doing. You get session replay. This person clicked this button, then this button, and then they drag an item over here. It's very helpful to figure out what the hell went wrong when you have a session replay. You got code coverage, you got AI assist, you got Git integration. You got it all with Sentry. Oh, logs too. Don't just dump your logs into some TXT file somewhere. Integrate them with your traces so that when you have an error, you can see the logs that happen that are associated with that specific error. It's the best. I write some terrible software and Sentry helps me fix it. Go to sentry.io/syntax. It's going to get you 2 months for free. Use a coupon code TASTYTREAT.
Sick. Cool. Let's get into it. Next question.
Question from Steven Highgrave. I'm a newer developer and I was just starting to have better intuition for human readable Git breakpoints. So making Git commits at a specific point. Then, wham, Cloud Code with Sonnet 4.5 in my editor. By the way, that's the old outdated one. They released 4.7 yesterday. And what would have been logical breakpoints are now getting hit 10 to 50 times every 5 minutes. So he's saying that he's getting 10 to 50 commits every 5 minutes from Cloud Code. That seems like a lot.
That seems like a lot.
So, what do I do to keep my commits digestible upon reflection and useful for debugging without stopping to commit every 10 seconds? Holy hell, Steven, what are you building?
Yeah.
Is there a flow to let Claude initiate appropriate commits on its own as it goes? What are the pros and cons in turning that over to Claude as well? Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Like, do you let the AI, A, write the commit message, and B, actually make the commits programmatically as you go along? I don't know that I know the answer to this, because what I've been doing recently is just like, I'll have AI generate a commit message, but then if it contains like kind of like 2 things that were done, I find that kind of muddy, because if it's like 2 totally separate features, they should really be separate commits, And I've not found a decent way yet to have it like commit feature by feature, or take all of the files that have been changed, select the ones that are associated with that feature, and then commit it. So I've kind of been doing like human in the loop right now. I certainly don't have 10 to 50 every 5 minutes. That seems ridiculous. I feel like I have a similar amount of commits, maybe slightly elevated if I'm doing a little bit more code generation. But every time I feel like I've hit a spot, I just stop. You still have to know what the hell is going on with your code. So at the very least, you should understand what the commit message should be for it,
I do not turn my commit messages to AI, even though they are very helpful to have those AI commit messages. But like, even if I am vibe coding something or having AI write a large portion of the code, I'm reading it. I'm writing my own commit message, and I'm going to go back and forth with it. I think you might be hitting them slopes a little too hard on this one. I think I think you got to be really maybe a little bit more like human in the loop here, because it feels like that is an intense. Like, are you running how many agents at once to do this? Like, to generate that much code?
Yeah, you got bigger problems, Steven.
Yeah. You got bigger problems
than your commit messages.
Commit frequently, yes. Do it by hand, yes. Otherwise, who knows? What are you even putting up? Like, what is that even out there? That code? What is it? Like, yeah. I still personally, I'm always testing. I'm using, Chrome DevTools, MCP to use the thing and have it use the thing. And if I'm vibe coding something truly, I'm certainly not turning over every last thing to the AI, because garbage out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I find that, especially when you have too many files, the commit messages get a little bit muddy, and I'm starting to notice it. Like when you can notice AI art, you can notice like AI generated read. I'm starting to notice AI commit messages as well. And it just gives me a little less confidence in some of the stuff. I also have that with like Mac apps, like that whole like, ooh, this is a cool little Mac app that you should download. That whole area has been just destroyed by like vibe coded stuff, and now I'm so hesitant to install something. Yeah, because it's just like you have no idea if this person just boop into the box and it spit out a Mac app out the other end, which is, I feel very hesitant. Running that stuff on my computer versus just in a sandbox one web browser.
Yeah, I feel you. All right, next question from Boris Beans. I'm 19, have been a React dev, so I must be autistic according to Wes. Wes, what have you done? For a year.
The episode with Courtney. People love that. The Spotify comments on that were hilarious.
Oh my. For a year and a half, I've been working at a startup for over a year. Okay, so 19, working on React for a year and a half, been working on a startup for over a year. With AI, it's hard not to think twice about the career I'm pursuing with all of the noise about programmers becoming obsolete. What do you guys think that the future for young guns like me will be in this industry? Thank you for your time. Love from New Zealand. Yes, me personally, you can't predict the future. This stuff gets better all the time. Last year at this time, I wasn't vibe coding anything. Now I'm still not vibe coding anything in production, but I'm vibe coding personal software tools all the time. And the code sucks, but they largely work. So that's going to get better. It's going to get better. But at the same time, I'm building all kinds of stuff. I'm building cool stuff and I'm able to make it work. Now, how far away is, just say what you want and the thing builds and works and is perfect with no bugs and is performant and has no security issues and no flaws whatsoever? I don't know. But to me personally, I just like making stuff. And if you like making stuff, then to me, I don't think this is a bad career to pursue. I don't think it's bad to get into it. But a lot of it is caring about the stuff that you're building and liking making stuff and pushing things that way and pushing yourself. But when I first started doing web development, you did your layouts in a table and you didn't even do floats. You just did everything in a table.
Yeah, and if there's one industry where this changes constantly
24/7. So like it's not just, you're not going to wake up one night and be like, oh, I'm out of a job. You're going to have an opportunity to evolve with this profession and whatever that may look like at some point in the future. Who knows?
We get this question every week in our potluck, and it's one of three. I am young, and I'm worried about if this is a good profession. I am middle-aged and worry about long-term of my career because of AI. Or I am old, and I am worried that I can't keep up with it because of AI. And, AI is going to get rid of the button clickers. AI is going to get rid of the people who don't want to put in the work. But we will forever in this world need people who are smart and can solve problems. And given that you are 19 years old, you are at the very beginning of your career. And if you can shape your career in a way where you will be the smart person, you will be the problem solver, you will be able to figure things out, you will be always in demand. What you are solving and how you do that will constantly be changing. But being smart and solving those problems will never change. And I had a little rant the other day on Twitter where I was just talking about how everything sucks. We had major downtimes from AWS and Cloudflare within a week. Twitter DMs weren't working. The Google launched this anti-gravity editor and it didn't work still is a week later and it still doesn't work. And just like everything seems like it's kind of, and like there's this whole enshittification of the internet that is popping up. And we're starting to see that everybody replied to that was like, it's vibe coding, you know?
It's not vibe
but
coding, yeah.
I don't know that it's AI, or I don't know that it's vibe coding. I know that it is people just trying to move too fast because a lot is changing right now. And I know that it is that people don't give as much of a as they used to.
And they're spread too thin because they've been laid off and the teams are smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like a lot of stuff is just breaking and wearing away, and we're starting to see the cracks form. And who's going to be there to fix that? It's going to be the people that are actually smart, the people that actually know how to fix these things, the people that have not just like sort of checked out and boop, boop, boop into the box. So if I have any advice for you, is just like try to live an entire career of just constant learning and constant, and that doesn't just have to be coding, but it's just
evolve.
Like, evolve. In my life, I'm constantly learning everything new. You know, I'm just getting into electronics and to Christmas lights and to baking and to like, you know, just like all of the different areas to just constantly be learning.
Yeah. That is so right. Just constantly be learning, because it is the careers, no matter what. Even if it wasn't for AI, the role would look completely different 10 years from now than it does right now, regardless. So, yeah.
And honestly, what else are you going to do? Every other industry right now is having the same scariness, and whether or not it's actually going to pan out. You know, like AI is pretty good at summarizing Reddit threads and cranking out some React components right now. But like, will it actually replace electricians? You know, are these robots that are going to fold our clothes actually going to get better? I don't know about that. It'd be sweet if they did, but a lot of the things that you're hearing from people, especially like on Twitter, about how amazing everything is, these people are getting paid off. I have these people in my inbox every single day offering me like thousands of dollars to just post nice things about their AI thing. It's because there's a lot of money on the line right now. So don't believe everything you see.
Yeah, there's going to be winners and losers. And right now, there's a lot of fighting in the middle. And right.
Canada Trav says, best practices to back up. After the Halloween episode, I realized I don't have the best backup systems. Oh, no. I have big files such as music and videos of screen recordings that take up a lot of space. Hey, us too. Since you guys deal a lot with large files, I hope you could help. I was wondering what tools, workflows, and practices and other stuff you suggest for a good system. In particular, I had questions about how to handle setting up automatic backups in the following situation. So before I answer this, we'll answer them quickly, but we are going to do an entire show on local servers and NAS, probably the week after this, something like that. Just watch out for it. It's coming out. So personal. For technical-minded developers, backing up code along with larger files for solo and hobby projects. So for me, the way that all of this works is that you should assume at any point in time that your computer and or the place where you have your backups will go away. Mm-hmm. And you should be able to recover for that. So what that means is that you should have automatic backups both locally, so it's nice and quick to restore, but also off-site. So for me, I use Time Machine to back up my entire computer just constantly. And then I also have my computer running Backblaze, where it just constantly mirrors to the cloud. So that if, worst case, if my laptop and my backup hard drives were to go away, then I would still be able to, it would be a pain in the butt, but I still would be able to recover from that.
Yeah, no, I agree. For me, I think backing up things is something that needs to happen without you thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because if your process really gets too bogged down or manual or anything, you know, I always really liked the Time Machine Apple backups, but then it would like break and then I would stop using it, and then it like, because it doesn't
always
play nice. Yeah. So some kind of automated process is really good. I used to use Carbon Copy Cloner to do an automated full clone of my drive, which is a nice little app to do that with. But yes, making the process something that is automated. I actually don't have a good process for this either, so I'm listening right now.
Man, yeah. So I have Time Machine and I've tried the Time Machine like on a local server backup, and it always breaks. So now I simply just have a hard drive on my desk that I plug in, and even then I forget to plug it in as often as I want. So that's why I love Backblaze, because it's just always running on my computer. It's very hard to quit it. You can only pause it for like 30 minutes or a couple hours while we're recording, and then it will just resume itself, and it's saved my bacon several times. So that's personal. And then the second one here was for family, for not as technical people that want to back up the photos. They have lots of photos, documents, other important things they should be backing up. How can I implement something to give them a bit of protection and redundancy? Since if they get locked out of iCloud or take a photo that is not on the cloud, it could be lost forever. This is also really tricky, because like as much as you like preach this stuff to family, if they're not technical, they don't care.
No.
You know? Like you see it all the time on Facebook. Lost my phone. Send me your numbers. Like, oh, or like, oh my goodness, I lost my phone at the grocery store. It has all of my family memories on it. Like, oh, you didn't think like this one little rectangle with everything you've ever held dear might get
lost,
like you might
or
misplace it at some
or,
point.
Yeah.
But that's why, like, as much as I hate iCloud so much, because it's like a mob. You know, they every 5 seconds, oh, you're out of space. It's critical to back up. That's the only thing that people are gonna do. But I have, for my family, I have a something running on my Synology. It's the Synology Photos app.
Yeah. Do you like it?
And then it's great. It just like I don't use it to like search and view. I use Google Photos for that.
Yeah.
But I know that like Google Photos could rug pull or I could get locked out at some point for reasons. So it's nice knowing that we have like a secondary backup of all of our photos locally on a drive.
You know what I hate about the Synology Photos app, and I don't know if this is a me issue, is that it doesn't just back up. You have to like run the backup. You have to say run the backup in the background. And I've like never gotten it. So then that, like I'll go to Synology Photos, and it's like a way out of date from what I have in my Google Photos, because that's what I use. I use Google Photos, just because we used to be on Android, so it's like just locked into Google Photos. But still, it's like you can just, if Google Photos can figure it out, you can figure it out. Synology Photos, don't make me enter some focused backup mode.
Yeah, I think it has something to do with the fact that you don't open it often enough, and then if you don't open it for a couple weeks, like my Google Photos does this every now and then, where I open it to like search for a photo. I was like, oh shit, it hasn't backed up for like 3 weeks. It's just because I haven't opened it. So yeah, there does need to be some sort of better way to do that. I should check. I have it all on my kids' iPads as well, because they've got like a 2 megabyte iPad. That's the like default one from Apple. And then they take one video, and then they're always mad that their iPad is out of space. And all the apps have that stupid little download icon behind them, because it like offloads the app.
I hate that feature.
But you can't there's nothing to manage. Feature. But they have like 9 gigs of like Roblox stored somewhere, and like, but you can't delete it. There's no tools to delete it. It drives me nuts. I hate Apple and their storage so much.
Yeah, it sucks, and it's always sucked. I remember like
it has
Apple.
They just want you to use the cloud.
Just pay for it. Things. Yeah, just pay.
Business, not necessarily for devs, but suggestions for clients, friends, or people running small operations that is not code. What are solutions? So I run a Synology NAS, and then that NAS backs up to Backblaze B2. So what I'll do is I'll take like a video project. Like yesterday, we recorded like 3 hours worth of video, right? So that's, I don't know, probably 60, 70 gigs. And then I'll just drag that over to my NAS, and I'll hold down the command key. And what that does is it just, once it's done transferring to the NAS,
deletes it off your local.
It will delete off your computer, and then that will automatically back itself up to Backblaze B2. so that I know, okay, all right, I got 2 copies of this. I got the local version, I've got the remote version.
Does it automatically remove things if you remove them from your NAS? Because I have so much video and I end up deleting the project file. I maxed out my 16 terabyte NAS the other day.
That's a good question.
So much video.
I've not deleted anything off of mine yet, but it's like any blob storage where like if you change the file, it keeps a copy of the old one and the new one. So I would assume if you delete it, it doesn't, because that's the whole point of having a backup. So you probably would have to explicitly go in there and delete that file from your backplace, or it will delete it, and if you don't use it for like a year or whatever. I should actually look into that, but I have a 16 terabyte NAS, and I think I have like not all of that is backed up, like mirrored, like not my TV shows, but all of my like video and family.
What do you do for
photos
your
and stuff
pirated media, Wes?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then sensitive files, things like password manager, recovery codes, keys, auth, intimate images, or medical info you might not have safe, but don't want it just sitting around. Oh, one other thing I should say is that like Dropbox is I still pay for Dropbox. Dropbox is still good, especially
for Google Drive. So yeah.
Yeah, maybe I should switch over to that. I'm paying for Google Drive anyway. Recovery codes is a good one. Put them somewhere that is fire safe. Some people like to get a safety deposit box. Some people like getting a fireproof safe in their house.
I'm getting a fireproof safe for my feet pictures.
For your feet photos, yeah.
Yep.
I got copies of those ready though. Yep. If anyone wants them, let me know.
Yep. Gotta put it in a fireproof safe.
Medical I don't know. I don't have intimate images if anyone's looking for those. And medical stuff I just keep in my regular files on my computer. That drive is encrypted, so I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah, and if you have a Synology, you can actually create an encrypted folder, by the way. So any of the files, you can say this is an encrypted folder, and then every time the Synology mounts, it mounts unmounted. You have to manually unmount it with your encryption key. So I do that for my my medical documents and stuff like that. So you don't want somebody gets to drive, they got all that stuff, just your tax documents and any of that stuff. So just throw it. It's really easy to make it encrypted, although it is kind of a pain in the butt. It is kind of a pain in the butt to de-encrypt it all the time. I was gonna write a script to automatically de-encrypt it and do this and that, and I was like, well, then it's kind of like defeating the point, I guess.
Yeah, that's annoying. That's because I have mine mounted to my computer all the time.
Yeah,
and that would be annoying to have to implement. Our doorbell does that. It's like local encrypted, and every time I open the doorbell app, it's like unencrypting, and I was like, do I care that the Amazon delivery guy is encrypted? Yeah. I kind of wish this was faster.
Yes. You know what you can also do? In Mac OS, at least, you can create a disk image that's encrypted as well. So you can, from disk utility, you can create a disk image. You can set it to be a certain size and make it encrypted with a key, and then it just exists as a disk
my
image.
whole computer is encrypted.
Yeah.
If you took the hard drive out of my computer, you wouldn't be able to read the content.
I'm just saying, if you want to have an encrypted folder to put your tax documents in, you would create a disk image, make it encrypted, drag your stuff in there, then you can move it around as if it's a normal folder, open it anywhere that you have access to that key. I don't know if you can open it on iOS at that point, but I haven't tried.
All right, let's move into the next section, which is sick picks and shameless plugs. I'm going to sick pick a Lego set. So This is a little bit weird, but when I was growing up, Lego was just I don't know if there were sets or I didn't get sets, but Lego to me, it was just you have a bunch of bricks and you make that pyramid that goes to
there
the
were
top,
sets,
right?
Yeah, there were absolute sets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my son is getting super into Lego, and he loves getting a set for Christmas or his birthday or whatever. And so we recently got the Lego Santa, which is I don't know, about a foot high Santa. It's 800 pieces or so.
Oh.
And he was reading through the book, but I was like, let's check out what the Lego app has. Unbelievable, the Lego app. It does every step with these new Lego steps. It's
so
like a
good.
3D model of every single step. It highlights the piece that you're working on. It animates the direction you need to press it down. You can pan around the model at any time to give yourself context. You know, like that's kind of frustrating when you're looking at the Lego. You have to flip it upside down. You're like, which way is it in the directions?
Totally.
It's so nice to have a nice big screen and you just click next, 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 and you can visually see where you're at. I found that so helpful. And apparently someone else on Instagram told me this. You can do it together. So if you get a Lego set that is like a really big one, you can have two people working on two separate parts of the Lego set at the same time. And then it will they connect to each other via your account, and you can like sort of track your progress and say, all right, I'm working on this part, you work on that part.
Yes,
so check out the Lego app.
I love that I love a lot of that stuff in that app. And Landon has been doing the same thing where he has now like filled bins and bins of Legos, even though we had sets at some point. And so now going back to build the things that he has, it's like so much more convenient to fire up the iPad than to try to find that instruction booklet.
Find the little book. And also like we found at the thrift store, we found a Toyota Supra and like some Lamborghini, like old ones. Mm-hmm. And like they were all done, but it was like $10 each, and I was like, we got to get these. So we brought it home, and we're like, we don't have the instructions. But then I realized, oh, you could just use the Lego app and just go through the instructions. Unbelievable.
Word. Yes.
So, very cool. I know people listening to this are like, you're an idiot, Wes. Lego's done this forever, but I am just recently getting into it.
Wes, just getting into Legos. Yes, I'm gonna pick light bulbs. LED light bulbs specifically, they can have all kinds of issues when you get into dimming, whether they're fluttering or their refresh rate or whatever is going on.
It's a wild world.
It's a wild world. These are the best bulbs that I found. They're Philips LED ultra definition bulbs. I just bought a new set of these, and I use them with my Lutron dimmers all over the place, and they're just good bulbs. So if you're looking for light bulbs that don't suck, that are LED bulbs, Philips LED ultra definition, good.
When we moved into our house, we replaced all the pot lights because the psycho that lived here before put cool white everywhere.
Cool white, yeah. And you gotta do warm.
You gotta do warm white. So we replaced them all, and they're expensive. It's light, and the good light bulbs are very, very expensive. And cheap light bulbs suck because they last about 6 days before you have to replace them. So I have learned that you just got to pay the money for the Philips bulbs.
They last forever.
Not fuss with it. Yeah.
I've actually been considering moving our bathrooms to be cool white, because every time you go to a hotel, the bathrooms are all the cool white, and they're so illuminating. You can see all the imperfections in your skin or whatever.
Our mirrors are cool, but the rest of the thing is a warm white.
I like a warm light throughout the house. Courtney says it makes it feel like a cave, but I like a cave house.
Oh no, you got it. Apparently, in hotter climates, like in the Caribbean, they like the cooler white a lot more. So, yes. But that's a red flag for me. You know, you walk into someone's house and they've got like a very cool white light on.
I like that the evening goes on, even though I don't have a lot of multicolor bulbs. I like the light to get warmer. I like it to get darker, and your eyes are just slowly adjusting and decreases over time. Yes, big fan.
Thanks for tuning in. Catch you later. Peace.